call them eccentric, you know. They call them eccentric, you know. They call them eccentric. They call them eccentric, you know. I don't know, I'm never quite sure what eccentric is. He doesn't, because I mean, dude, well, he doesn't, an oddball. Yeah, but I mean, it's funny, we remember the oddballs. We don't remember the people who call them oddballs. We don't remember the people who call them oddballs.
Hello everyone and welcome to the second episode of the Conquest podcast. Today we have a very special guest. He is notable for his time on The Voice. He's a singer-songwriter. He's also a good friend of mine, and it is Pauric O Meara, everyone. Welcome.
Alright guys, how are we doing? How are you, Conor? You all good?
Not too bad. How are you, Pauric? How are you?
Finest, man. Finest. Can't complain at all.
Good. So, Pauric, what I want you to do firstly is just maybe give the people, the listeners, a small introduction to who you are, what you're about, what you do, and just a bit more. Maybe something that people don't normally know about you or something like that.
Yeah, sound. So my name is Pauric O Meara. I'm 25. I'm a singer-songwriter, musician, if you want to call me that.
Yeah.
I'm a qualified primary school teacher, but I haven't been teaching for the last year and a half. Just kind of focused on music. Don't know if there was the right decision now with everything that's after happening the last couple of months. But yeah, so I suppose like I started playing the guitar when I was like 17, 18 and just kind of went from there. I started releasing music like 3 years ago and was building my name and I just felt like last year was the right time to call myself a musician and stop calling myself a teacher.
Yeah. So that's one of the interesting things I like one of the interesting things I got from the Instagram questions and bits and pieces like that was one of the main questions that I got off one of the lads from Instagram, Anthony Byrne, was how did you find doing that? So when you went from being I'm Pauric, the teacher, to then going into I'm Pauric, the singer-songwriter. What was that like for you like explaining it to your parents? Were they kind of thinking, oh my God, why is he spent 3 years or 4 years doing a teaching degree when he's just going to be a singer at the moment?
I get you.
Was that difficult?
It wasn't. Like, I guess when I finished the Leaving Cert, I wanted to be a musician straight away, and Mum and Dad were kind of like, Pauric, we've always told you we'll support you no matter what you do in life, but you're going to get a degree first. And yeah. I guess like at the time I was like, but I don't want to do this, I just want to play music. But like they kind of made me see the other side of things, and I guess now more than ever my degree is so important because it's looking like I'm going to have to go back teaching this year because there's going to be no music for a long time, and it's looking like that. We're talking about pubs opening in August, but it's going to be a long time before we've live music back. So that really kind of puts a thorn in my side as a musician. Like, but yeah, I mean, I guess even like take my parents out of it, it was hard for me to come to terms with it because I was like, am I really doing this? Like, am I going to leave a 27,000 a year after tax job to live a job where I'm barely going to be able to afford my rent? Like, and it's funny because
I gotcha.
Like, a lot of even my friends and people who I know and people who follow me on Instagram, whenever I meet them, or they might message me on Instagram being like, Jesus, you made the right decision going for music and leaving the teaching. And I was like, my bank account doesn't think so.
Yeah, but, exactly. But yeah, look, that was another thing that I was gonna.
Yeah, like go on. I went from making good money and affording my rent and also having a tiny bit there to put away to barely making my rent and putting food on the table. But I've never been happier as I was in the last year, and I was making fuck all money. So I mean, it definitely was a great decision for me, and looking back on it, I've achieved so much since making that decision. But to answer your question, yeah, like it was a nerve-wracking decision at the time, like, and there was definitely some doubt, but I guess I just have serious belief in myself and what I'm trying to achieve. So once you have that, kind of the other decisions go out the window, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I can completely see where you're coming from with that one as well. What did you find, so you've dealt with the parent situation at that stage. You've said to your parents, I've always wanted to be a singer-songwriter. They've always said kind of maybe get your degree in first and that. what about your friends? Did they always know that you were a singer-songwriter the whole way up when you were growing up, or was it when you got to a certain age you decided to pick up the guitar and then go from there, or was it like a gradual build, or was it just like going from you not singing around them to being on The Voice one day and then them knowing you as a singer-songwriter, or do you know what I mean? How did that transition go?
I guess we'll go back to the start. We'll make it as quickly as I'll go through it as quickly as I can. But like, I only started playing the guitar when I was 17. I only realised I could sing when I was 16. So it was very
pretty late.
I was very late to the game, if you think about it in that sense. Like, I did a couple, so we, in my school, Burskane Community College, we had a couple of Christmas concerts, and that was my first time singing. It was we did a Hairspray for our transition year musical, and of course I was one of the roles in it. So that was kind of when I realised I could sing. And then when I kind of, a couple of months later, I was like, alright, maybe I should start learning the guitar. And then I entered a local Callan competition and came second. And then from that I started getting loads of cover gigs in my local pubs. And then kind of slowly started, like, I think when you talk about my friends and how they took it, I think for a long time even my best friends thought that I was just kind of a pub musician, and like I liked singing on a Saturday night for 2 hours, singing, you know, rebel songs and all that crack. And to be honest, to be honest, like, for a long time that is all I was. And then after I went on The Voice, so like I kind of was a pub musician, kind of someone who took the guitar out at a house party and sang a few songs. Then I went on The Voice, and then after my experience on The Voice, I was like, okay, this is actually what I really want to do. Like, this is what I want to do for the rest. It's not, for a long time all I wanted to do was play cover songs in a pub, but after that experience I was like, okay, no, I want to write my own music. I want to release my own music. I want to be Pauric O Meara. I want everybody to know who I am. And I suppose it kind of, since that experience, I've just been pushing to try and get there, you know?
Yeah, I completely know. And then with The Voice, you just mentioned it. How was that whole experience? So your sister signed you up, wasn't it? That was the story.
Yeah, my sister was the pushing force.
Were you annoyed, or were you happy with her at the start for that?
Not really. Like, I think it was something that we kind of chatted about for a long time in my family, because it was something we watched as a family. So then my sister was like, Pauric, like, you should go on it. And I was kind of like, humming and hawing and this, that and the other. And then eventually then it was kind of like, it just came down to, what you doing Friday? Nothing. Okay, we're going to Dublin to audition for The Voice. I was like, alright, sound. But I didn't really think much about it. I guess that comes down to my personality. Like, I kind of try and take a lot of things in my stride, and like try and not get too overwhelmed by things, because I'm the type of person that, like, if I get overwhelmed by it, I could start getting really anxious. So I just kind of took it in my stride, and I was like, fuck it. If I get through, I get through. If not, like, it's not the end of the world. I'm still going to be fine.
Take it as a new experience.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah.
Okay, so you weren't too nervous on the voice stage at all when you were up there.
So it's funny, man. I wasn't nervous about being on The Voice. I was nervous about what other people would think, though. Like, that was a big thing, man.
So that's one of the main things.
Yeah, because it was something that I kind of struggled with for a while. Even like putting up covers on Facebook and YouTube. Like, I used to be absolutely shitting it every single time, because, like, look, there was people in my secondary school, there's even people when I went to college, man, at 20 and 21, that would go out of their way to make me feel as though I wasn't going to achieve where I wanted to go. And like, for a long time, that got to me, because I was like, why don't they like me? Why aren't they supporting me? And then I was like, do you know what? Fuck them. I'm just going to prove them wrong and get to where I want to be, you know? But it's... Yeah,
I completely understand.
And like, even, man, like, those people who were doubting me for such a long time, I met a couple of them a couple of months ago, about a year ago, out in Dublin, and like, these were people who I was not friends with and who used to give me a hard time when it came to music, and they came up and they're like, oh man, how's the music going? And I was just standing there, and I was like, why do you care now when I needed you to care 5 years ago, like, you know?
Yeah, I suppose people grow up as well.
That's true.
It's like a lot of the time I find where people that I know that have done successful things at this age, like, because we're still young, let's be real when it comes to it.
Yeah.
But people that I know that have started off maybe not being the most popular, or for say when they were younger or something, and now they're a big name in whatever they do.
Yeah.
A lot of people seem to grow up and seem to give them the plaudits that they deserve almost
I
now,
don't think,
I think is really good.
I think it's good, Connor, but I don't think, as in, like, people like myself, and I know some of the people you're talking about in that reference as well, because I know them too, and I know what their story is, but
Yeah.
we needed that support years ago. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is,
very true.
the point I'm trying to make is, like, if somebody's starting off trying to do something and trying to give themselves a whack and put themselves out there, don't knock them then. Don't knock them and then build them up when they're already built up. Kind of stick by them and support them and like push them to do everything they can. Now, I completely agree with you. It's great to see that when you do get there, you have that acknowledgement, but kind of, if somebody's trying something, just don't knock them, regardless what it is. Whether it's somebody painting a picture or writing a song, or like yourself, man, starting a podcast. It's like, there's no point in me turning around to be like, actually, Connor, I'll come on your podcast in 2 years when you're already successful. You know, it's not going to work
I'd
like
say
that.
that might happen with a few people, I'd say.
But look, like, that is, and like, look, I know that, you know that, it's something that we'll take in our stride, but I suppose just anyone listening to this podcast, if there's somebody starting off on something, make sure you make it very aware that you support them, and don't turn around in 2 years and start supporting them.
Exactly. So just on my side of things, when I did decide to start up the podcast, I was getting messages from, it was actually a good experience for me, so it might be a sign that the times are changing, where it's not how it used to be. Yeah. Because as soon as I set this up, I was getting messages off people I never thought that I'd get messages off.
Yeah, but we're different ages.
It really shocked me and surprised me. We're different age, yeah. Different so if you are starting younger, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I started when I was 18, 19. We were very immature, naive, kind of didn't really have an open mind when it came to a lot of things. Like, whereas now we're 25, 26, and it's like, fuck it, go for it, man. Push yourself, you know? It's great. It is great.
Yeah, exactly. And that comes back into that question, and you know, fitting in with the social norms and stuff like that. I suppose when you started off, or when you started off your singing, you weren't fitting into the social norms, and that's why maybe some people weren't supporting you or whatever. But now they're seeing that to be a singer-songwriter is absolutely like a cool thing, because they get to do big gigs up in Dublin or whatever like that. And as you said, people are more mature at our age, but people starting off younger really need that push, I feel. I completely agree with you on that one, that they just need that core group of friends behind them to just, you know, push them and tell them that, and constructive criticism as well, because of course, man. There's no way of getting better if people aren't gonna explain to you what you're doing wrong.
100%. And even as you just said there, you're like your core group of friends. Like, I did have my core group of friends, and they were the people who got me through everybody else doubting me. So, you're dead right. You hit the nail on the head there. Like, if you have a close friend or somebody that you support, just stay behind them. 100%.
Yeah, that's all you need, I suppose.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go through a few more of the Instagram questions, because they were actually very, very good coming in.
Yeah.
What some people want to know are, what are the main challenges of being a musician in the current climate today? So what do you find is the hardest thing for you to do?
I'll just get out my list.
Is it?
I'll just get out my list.
Yeah. What do you feel is the most difficult part of being a musician today? I know there's probably loads of struggles, but the main ones for you, what is that frustration?
Well, look, I suppose I could be going on all night if we start talking about them all, so I'm just going to focus on one, and that main big one is that, like, if you look at any artist, I know I'm not taking anything away from any artist who's made it, I'm not a jealous type, everybody to their own, absolutely support them 100%. Even I have friends that I grew up with that have gotten successful before me, and I'm 100% behind them and always will be. But you have big artists, and they have one breakout song, and then everything else seems to fall into place for them. So the hardest thing, man, is trying to break into that scene with your one song, and then hoping that you keep the ball rolling. I mean, I had goals that I set for myself years ago, and those goals were the likes of get played on 2FM. I have succeeded that. headline shows in Dublin. I have succeeded that. But at the same time, it's like I'm still at a standstill. I haven't, like, of course I'm always moving forward and all these things are making my name bigger and giving me that bit of progression. But sometimes, man, the biggest challenge is I get played on 2FM and then people think I'm on the same level as Dermot Kennedy. But that's not,
I get what you
that's
mean.
not how it works. Like, I need to be played on 2FM 5 times a day for the rest of my life to even get near Dermot Kennedy's level, you know? I think the toughest thing is, man, is like people support you, and then I found that sometimes when it seems as though you're getting somewhere, people put the foot off the gas because they're like, okay, my work here is done, I don't need to support this person now because he's already famous. You know?
Yeah, and that's probably the point where they should be sharing your stuff the most or whatever. You know, that's where that little percentage will make a big difference, I suppose.
Huge, man. Huge.
In that kind of way.
Huge. Like I even found at my last single, like people were sharing it, and then it got played on 2FM. A lot of people were messaging me being like, "Oh, unreal! This is a huge step." But then those particular people stopped sharing my music. So I was like,
it's a bit frustrating in that way.
Yeah, that's the biggest challenge, man, is just trying to keep up with the big boys. And it's the same. Yeah. It's the same in any industry. It's the same in any line of work. It's like keeping up with the big boys and trying to not compare yourself while constantly comparing yourself. And I know that makes no sense, but like that is that is literally what it is. I have an idea. Like, yeah, that is literally what it is. Yeah. You know, I always try and focus on me and my music, but I can't do that without listening to Sam Fender and being like, fuck, his tune is unbelievable, my tune needs to be as good as his tune, you know?
How do I sound like him?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so that was a great answer actually for that one. I'd say whoever actually sent that question in got a longer answer than they were expecting for that one.
Lovely.
But the next one is, without going into too much details about the coronavirus lockdown and all that kind of stuff, because I know people are sick of hearing about coronavirus and that kind of side of life, how we're living it at the moment.
Yeah.
But what one of the listeners wants to know is, what is your creative process during the lockdown? Like, how do you find your creative spark? Have you encountered any writer's block over the lockdown? Has it just been plain sailing where you're just writing down everything that flows into your head, or is it like more of a thought out process where you sit down, like beginning, middle, end of a song, or just describe your creative process, especially during lockdown? Yeah,
well, I suppose I tried. So we'll take the first 5 weeks of lockdown. My creative process was the very same, like I always do. I sit down, I get my guitar, I lay down a melody, and then I add a beat, and then I can add lyrics. That's usually my process. Sometimes I can write the lyrics first, but my main process is melody, beat, lyrics. And that was fine for like 4 or 5 weeks of lockdown, but then, man, I was in the same room, I was doing the same shit every day, and the creative spark just kind of went. So
flew out of you.
Yeah, it just blew out, man. But then I knew that I had to go back and find another way to be creative. So what I did was I started making house and techno tunes, and then I found that when I was making house and techno tunes, I was improving my skills without knowing, and then because I had improved my skills, it urged me to go back to my songwriting and use these skills to help my usual songwriting, if that makes sense. So basically,
it definitely does.
Basically, when my creative spark ran out, I found another source of creativity and used that to drive my songwriting and drive my production skills and different things like that. You know, because there's more to it than just sitting down and recording. You know, you have to think about instrumentation and like listening to other bands and seeing where they have instruments coming in and out is a great way that I find creativity. Like I know, like I have Sam Fender's album absolutely rinsed about 500 times because I love his instrumentation and I have learnt from him and people like him, like Bruce Springsteen and loads of other artists. And I like whenever I'm lacking a bit of creativity, I just kind of look to them or look to house music and techno music and anything like that. Just anything that can maybe spark another bit of creativity and just grab everything you can and just hold onto it and do what you can with it.
Yeah, because I was trying to grasp your creativity when I was starting up the podcast, and I was kind of looking to all my friends to who to go to when it came to kind of podcasty voice things and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then you were telling me, oh, just send me through a few samples of bits of tunes or whatever you like, and then we'll try and come up with a jingle for the start of this podcast.
I really enjoyed that. I really fucking enjoyed that.
Yeah. So I sent through a Skepta sample that wouldn't open, and then I sent through a Ronnie Drew sample that I really like. Ronnie Drew is absolute king of Ireland to me.
He's the man.
And then you came back to me within a day or two with a complete, one of a kind jingle for the Conquest podcast, and I was just thinking in my head, God, this guy must be really creative or have some sort of spark inside of him that's able to...
I feel like the drive for creativity is love, man. It's like, I love music and I love sitting down, making beats, playing guitar, messing with samples. Like, I love it. And like, if anybody, like a lot of people have asked me, they're like, Pauric, how do you do it? Like, how do you... Even I came back home a couple of weeks ago for the rest of lockdown just because I was in Dublin, whatever, came back home, and it was the first time in the last 4 years that I've lived at home for longer than a weekend, and my parents are like, how do you do it? Like, how are you up in the room playing music all day? And I'm just like, I love it. And when you set me on when you told me about making the jingle and set me on the sample, I was like a child in Christmas. I could not wait to sit down and just make something from it, because I guess it's my way of kind of self-achievement and like kind of being proud of myself in a sense. Like, a lot of people have sport and sport milestones, whereas I'm absolutely useless at sport, always have been useless at sport, but I love music, and instead of scoring 2 goals in a match, I write a song, and that's where I get my kind of love for it, and just being able to sit down and being like, I'll make a jingle, I'll do this, no problem, give me whatever you want.
Yeah, I thought it was absolutely class how that just came out of the blue, basically. I just thought it was unreal.
Yeah, sound man, nice.
What else do we have? What else? What is it like trying to, like, this is one of the other Instagram questions, by the way. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
What was it like trying to roll on from The Voice? So you had the high of The Voice, okay? And then after that, where you said, okay, I want to be the singer-songwriter. Was it like a period after The Voice where you had to like sit down and think of, okay, I need to do an album straight away, or what was it after The Voice? Like, or did you have stuff pre-written, or was it just like, do you get what I mean? After The Voice, was it just like sit down and it's pen to paper, or was it like you had already thought of what you wanted to do after The Voice before it? Yeah,
so my journey kind of after The Voice went from being on The Voice, kind of doing quite well in it, and then when I got kicked off The Voice, it was near the end of my 3rd year in college, so I was heading into final year. So to be honest, man, I just kind of parked everything to the side, because I was like, right, even though now I'm coming to the realisation that I want to be a musician, I also have the biggest year of my college degree ahead of me, so I need to buckle down. So I kind of pushed everything to one side for that year. And then the minute I finished, like throughout the final year of college, I was writing a few bits and doing a couple of gigs and doing a couple of original support slots and things like that. And then when I went to America, the year I finished college, on the J1, we went to Cape Cod, me and my best friend, and kind of we lived near a beach. And that was when I kind of became a songwriter, I feel like I had a couple of songs. I had quite a few songs wrote, like even say some of the songs I've released I wrote way before then, but that was the first time where I bought a songwriting book where I found my happy place, going to the beach and sitting down by myself for an hour, and then going back and showing my best friend Shane about the songs, and the two of us would chat about the songs. That was my first realisation, be like, okay, songwriting is for me now too, so I was kind of tipping away at that. And it was actually that summer when I came, or that September when I came home, is when I released my first song.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds really good. So that sounded like the kind of almost the isolation you needed out in America was the kind of breaking of what you wanted to do.
Like
after
the first song I released was Hot Air Balloon, and my first original song that I released, obviously I released Maniac after The Voice and things like that, but my first song as a singer-songwriter was Hot Air Balloon, and I wrote that before I went to America, and then kind of while I was over there, processed it, got it recorded, things like that. So that was kind of the start of the journey for me. I guess college was behind me, and I was kind of like, now I can focus on actually being a singer-songwriter.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like all throughout the whole stage that it's been like a natural progression throughout the whole thing from
there was never
from when you first started to going on to The Voice to kind of getting out, you know, your first bit of like your own work, and then to where you are now.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was never
getting
never
ready
forced.
to release your next big song.
Exactly,
really,
like, it was
isn't
never, and that was it, man. It was never forced. It was a very natural progression. I never, and this is something I guess anyone listening to the podcast who's looking to delve into anything like this, don't force it. It's going to come naturally. Like work at it 100%, work hard at it, but don't sit down and be like, right, I need to become a famous musician by this time next year. Because it doesn't work like that. It's a natural progress. It takes a very long time, and like I've been doing it 8 years, and I'm still at the very start. You know, like I still have a long way to go, but I'm not putting myself under any pressure, man. If it happens for me, it happens for me, and I hope all I can do is that people like my music and people support me and come to my gigs, etc. And if things go well for me, they go well for me. If not, look back on the things I have achieved and just kind of be satisfied with that. And I'm sure I will be, like, there's no doubt there.
Yeah, and keeping the positivity flowing, just keeping that.
Good vibes, man.
Once you have a good aura around it, I suppose that it's like almost it'll do it itself.
Facts.
I suppose in that kind of way, like
good vibes. Good vibes.
Yeah, exactly. Good vibes. And I'm just conscious on time now as well, because I don't want to be running on too much. I just want you to maybe let the people know what you have coming up, and what you're planning on doing in the next few years, months, whatever you wanna tell to the people at the moment.
Nice one, man.
Where they can find you on your socials, all that kind of stuff, and basically anything else you want to say.
Cool, lovely. So first of all, thanks a million for you to having me on. It's been a great way to just get a bit of exposure, and hopefully new people that don't know about me might find me, or people that do know about me might be like, wait, he's actually good enough, I might give him a follow.
Yeah,
but
he's actually alright.
Yeah, he's actually alright. He's sound enough, like. But so you can find me on Pauric O Music, PauricOmusic on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that. Pauric O Meara on Spotify. I guess for me, my plan, I'm releasing a new song, Beacon Call, on Friday the 22nd of May. It's either out already or it's going to be coming out. Either or, you can go find it on Spotify. I had loads of shows booked in, man. I was meant to be going to Germany on tour. I was meant to be going to England on tour, America on tour, Ireland on tour, but unfortunately everything is in the bin now. So I have shows coming up in Ireland, in Dublin in October, Cork in October. Again, who knows if they're going to go ahead, but I guess the main thing is, please just keep an eye out for me. Try and spread my word and spread my music. If you like me and if you like my music, that's fantastic. But I guess just kind of,
and keep an eye out for the video.
Keep an eye out for the next video. Yeah, there's going to be a very special someone's going to be in it. But look, man, I guess bottom line is just kind of support me in any way you can, if you can, and not just me, anybody else who's in my line of things as a musician. Your support and your words and your help is just huge. So thank you.
Perfect. Yeah. And just to anyone else as well, probably thinking about starting up, singing, or if you think you have it, just maybe if you want to check out Pauric's story and just follow along and just see what he's done on his natural progression there.
I'm not saying I'm right.
There's been struggles.
I'm not saying I'm right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's been struggles for you, and there's been times where you thought, should I do this? Shouldn't I do this? But it seemed to have worked out for you so far.
Yeah,
so
absolutely, man. Yeah.
Just for but that's about it, really.
Cool.
Radio.
Unreal.
Thank you for coming on.
Nice
Thank
one,
you
man.
for being the first ever guest
it
on the Conquest podcast.
My privilege. Thank you so much.
Delighted to get this one nailed down.
Yeah,
delighted to get this nailed down. And we're gonna just keep motoring on, and I'm gonna try and get as many more people on. I'm gonna try and get over to Ireland to interview some people. Gonna interview some people over here in the UK.
Yes.
And just gonna keep trying to plow on.
Unreal.
Radio.
Connor, legend. Take it easy,
Thanks,
man.
Pauric.
Nice one.
Legend. See you later.
Take
bye
it
bye.
easy, buddy.
They call them eccentric, They call them eccentric, They call them eccentric. They call them eccentric,